How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we hope the station for you is OTR. That's the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark. We are broadcasting, transmitting here in Central California. 27085 is the frequency, which we do every Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time, listening for and talking with our vintage tube radio collectors who like to come by and share their collections with us, sort of like going to the hamburger stand on a Friday night and seeing the old cars with the fins and the chrome. Tonight it will be the old fins and chrome and tube-style radios checking in. We'll see how many we can get here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Welcome to those who are watching on the YouTube Old Tube Radio Network video. And welcome back to those tuning in, listening at oldtuberadio.net on their Universal Media Net web. We are looking for radio number 1.
45.
And it's like the best day fishing. You throw out the line, and no sooner than it plunks into the water, you get a nibble. And we've got a bite. Hello, 45. Hello, Paul. We are listening for your radio check-in.
Okay, you have it listed on your web as an unknown radio. This is my no-name radio.
All right, to the infamous no-name radio. Let me see if we can find a shot of unknown radio, if I can get it to come up here, and we'll see what happens. So give us a transmission, and taking a little slow to load. Okay, there it is, and I'll pop it up on the video stream as well. Go ahead, over.
Yeah, that's no radio. It's not very pretty, is it? Anyway, that's it's unknown radio. Nobody has ever been able to figure out where it come from or built by anything. So somebody built it. He had a CB license number of KOA 7170. Boy, sure like to know who he was or what he was before he built a heck of a nice little radio. He got 10 tubes crammed in this thing. It's only 7 inches wide, 9 inches long, and about 5 inches high. Boy, they put in there tight. He was quite a technician. Anyway, back to you.
All right, yeah, looking at the picture, almost looks a little bit homebrew. You can see the screws holding in the speaker. Looks like it's fairly simple. I don't see an S meter. Maybe, is it tunable? We'll talk to you about if it's tunable receive or how many transmit channels. Looks like it's got the original, we'll call it the teardrop style microphonium, and it's not doing too bad. I'll give you a signal report. We'll check the frequency on the next go around. But you may have the one of the kind radio there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really like the little radio. I mean, it's neat. It's it's bare bones on the front, as you can see. It's just got the speaker in the front, off and on with the volume, and then the switch on the side, and a plug-in for the microphone, which I'll talk about now. This is a microphone. It's a Turner 350 high-Z ceramic handheld microphone. Non-amplified, of course. And that's what it is. That's about the story of the little thing. It's very plain radio, but it talks. It's a one channel, and it listens well. So with even though the noise is coming in, it sounds pretty darn good. You sound real good. Anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thanks.
All right, thanks for bringing it by, getting us started off. It sounds pretty good. I checked frequency 27084.2, so pretty close on the crystal transmit frequency. The audio is not sounding bad at all. You're a little bit above the noise level, maybe a typical, or maybe a slightly less than signal-wise. We might hear you one of your bigger radios, but it's working quite well. Just want to remind everyone checking in, or if you'd like to hear the audio, we do archive the audio at oldtuberadio.net on the archive button. You've got to click on that. Wait a few minutes for the OTR magnetophone will pop up. It'll load a whole bunch of little reel-to-reel tapes, And you can check in on the date or check the date you checked in, and whether it's a tube or an SWL check-in, you click on that and your player will pick it up. And we do try and keep the YouTube videos up for a while too if you'd like to do it. You can also listen in on the web page. We keep those up for about a week. But anyway, you can hear what it sounds like here at Net Control, and we appreciate our tube radio operators who take the time out of their Saturday evenings and stop by the radio to give us some great check-ins. Our radio number one tonight, Paul, on what we lovingly call the unknown radio, because we just don't know anything about it except for the KOA 7170. And I have checked online. There doesn't seem to be any reputable stored database for the older calls. I'm sure that's, 1960s and early 70s before they were storing everything in computers, probably in little 3x5 cards, which have long been put in some basement somewhere. Thanks, Paul. OTR is standing by.
Number 7.
Hello, number 7.
The wonderful world of Foot Switch. This is the Elmer Fudd type item from Johnson, the Messenger 223.
Okay, yeah, those watching the video are seeing me stretching over here. I've got another device off to the side that I'm trying to work. It reminds me of, for those of you who are old enough and remember the Watergate thing and the 18 and a half minutes of tapes that were erased by, and I can't remember the secretary's name, but she's infamous, and somehow she was saying she was bending over and there was a foot switch and she was doing something. That's what I was kind of doing here, and I messed up on the foot switch. But I promise you, I will not endeavor to erase 18 and a half minutes of the old tube radio network. That would not be a good thing. Let us also go back over to SWL7, who has radio number 2, in the form of an E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. We'll pop up the picture and we'll hear some great audio back to you.
Oh, there you go. In fact, the picture you just put up is one just like this one, without the little transmit light on it. I guess I'm not sure exactly why the ones did have them and the ones didn't. But nice, simple little radio, just the couple little knobs there, and your channel selector. And this one has a Silver Eagle D104 microphone attached.
Okay, normally they would come with a supplied desk microphone, which I think came from Shure. No, it came from Turner, and they always sound pretty good, and that sounds very good with that microphone. So it's hard to make an E.F. Johnson sound bad, regardless of the microphone, unless the microphone is broken. The Messenger 223 was there, let's see, I want to say 1969 when it first came out. The two models before that, the Messenger 2 and the Messenger. The 223 was basically a Messenger 2 dolled up with the giant, nice-looking S-meter there, all 23 channels ready to go, and some nice audio as Ed is displaying for us. So give us another key down on radio number 2, and sounding mighty nice.
Oh, and thank you. Yeah, this one has been modified. The lights on the inside have been switched over to LEDs. So you have nice blue LED bulbs in there, which puts, of course, a nice little pattern underneath with the blue light and the little grid. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good modification. There was probably a lot of ways where radios have been and could be modified poorly, but that sounds like a modification that you would definitely want. The radio production, 1969 to 1972, around $200 was the price out the door back then. I'm not sure what they're going for today. Sometimes they're fairly reasonable if you can find a one that is working and in moderate shape. And it's a great radio to start out if you're looking for something. It's a great way to get all 23 channels on S-meter, some good audio, and a good transmitter from a company that is actually still around making, not 11-meter radios, but I think they're still making business band stuff. E.F. Johnson out of Waseca, Minnesota. Give us another transmission. Thanks for Radio 2. The Jingle Singers are in the wings, but let's hear from the Johnson one more time.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely still find these for a pretty reasonable price. Heck, I got this one shipped here and everything for like $35. I already had a microphone for it, so that worked out just fine.
Question?
And question, go ahead.
Then is she wearing a checkered shirt?
Am I wearing a checkered shirt? Oh, look, I even got I even got a handkerchief. So I'm in fine style here. And hello, everybody out there on the Universal Media Network. That's me.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of a slow thing compared to what I'm hearing in this. It's a 8-foot handkerchief. All right, that's you. I've got it live now. All right. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, and there will be somewhat of a delay, probably minimal, about 3 seconds. You can refresh the browser. Sometimes if you reopen the page, it will get you a little bit closer to the live, for those of you who are listening live. But yeah, it can be a bit confusing, so you got to be careful. Make sure your audio control is up, or if you're listening via the radio, you can turn the audio down on the Universal Media Net web device and then watch the video that way. But it'll be a little bit behind. Speaking of videos, let me just quickly, while I'm up here, to see if there's anything I need to address on the live side. On the video side, 11 people watching, but nobody commenting, which is okay. The comments we are going to get are from our jingle singers over in Studio B, telling us what it is we do here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Old Tube Radio Network, looking for radio number 3.
45.
Okay, I think there was 2 stations, and I heard 45. Paul, we'll take you for Radio 3. Was there another station? Okay, I'm not getting any audio with that one, but we will give it a try in a little bit. Hello, Paul. You've got radio number 3. Over.
Okay, that might have been me keying up with another radio on, so yeah, you kind of double on the thing. I was checking my Meritel CR117.
Okay, it's been a while. It's been a while for that one. And let me see if we've got... I remember that we didn't have a picture for that, but it looks like we might. The CR117. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. It's got the very interesting S meter that almost, it's like it is mounted upside down, but at least they've got the gradiating scale in the right position, so you don't have to stand on your head to see what's going on. Over.
Yes, for sure. So that's a neat little radio. It's polished chrome or polished aluminum on the front, I believe it is. And it's gray and black in color, as you can see in the picture. That same radio I'm talking on right there. Anyway, this thing was manufactured in 1960, and it was made in Minnesota. It's a 5-channel base, and it operates on only 117 volts, or 150, whatever you want to say. It is not set up at all for DC voltage for some reason. They just had it for a base, that's it. So you had 9 tubes in it. And as you can see, it's got a very large combination modulation meter on the front. It does all kinds of things up there. It's interesting. That now it's pegged on me. Anyway, and that using an M+2 turner power microphone on the thing, they just never could get the modulation gear on the thing, and then they have been able to. So I have to use a power mic to grade it up. And it's still not real strong, but I hope it's sounding all right. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
No, it sounds good. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed you had a power mic on it, because it just sounds very natural in the audio, like a good stock microphone. So, like I said, it definitely needs the little amplification boost in the audio. Looks like the microphone plugs in the front. There is I want to say like a 1/4-inch phono jack there, along with a couple of pilot lights. It definitely has that old tube radio look, and I guess it should, as you mentioned, 1960 was the manufacture date, so just right at the beginning of the Class D service, and it looks like it was one of Meritel's first products. And perhaps the 117 indicates it was 117 volts AC, and it wasn't mobile. I wonder if they had a CR12 or something, or a CR6. That was for the DC side. The 5 Crystal's doing a good job, especially the one on Channel 11. You are sounding good. Give us another transmission on radio number 3.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting story with this radio. Well, all the employees at this company went together and decided to build a CD. It's a nice little radio. I don't know why it didn't go over. Perhaps the voltage situation, but it just never went over. These guys are still in business, and they manufacture monochrome TV monitors for flight information and things like that. They do big stuff besides this, so too bad they didn't make it go over. I know there's another one out there is a red one. I'd like to see it again, or I'd like to get it. But anyway, all right, well, that's about it for it. And thanks a million, Dennis, for checking it in.
All right, and thanks for bringing it by. That's what I like about our tube radio operators. They can find some of the very rare radios that aren't around. You don't see them on eBay a lot. You don't hear them. Maybe you remember them. There's the red one. You mentioned the red one. I think I actually have a picture of that. Let me see. And that is the Miratel Rojo, we'll call it. And I guess it's still a CR117, but I don't have much documentation on that. But it looks like it's factory and not painted. Radio number 3, sounding good, Paul. Thanks for bringing it by on the Old Tube Radio Network. And my noise level's gone down. Maybe I can open the RF gain up a little bit. Of course, as soon as I say that, then it gets noisy again. We are looking for any and all check-ins. Radio number 4, maybe.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Dennis. SWL 37 here. We are going to check in the G PowerMate Jim Marine Products 23 channel that goes in the dark. This is the 23 channel, yeah, 23 channel, yeah. But this here is also, this is with the amplified D104.
All right, it is working. You have found the proper mode of operation to get the Jim Marine up and running. The pretty blue machine. I'm trying to get a shot. Oh, there it is. I do have a shot of it. We'll pop it up on the video while you give us some audio out of the Jim Marine. Over.
Well, yeah, this is mine, and I had to turn that other thing down, for I couldn't talk to you at the same time. That was driving me crazy. I don't understand why everybody says, turn it down, or turn them off, or, yeah. But anyway, no, this is the pretty blue one, and it seems to be working. I'm looking at all the meters here, and they're all swinging to the right, and, well, you live that way, so I have to aim, I'll look toward the east, and that way it's swinging to the right, going toward you.
All right, well, it's swinging the right way because you sound great here at Net Control. And there are various little tricks on the streaming page to turn the audio down. There's an audio controls. It has a magic eye. If you go up the top, we actually have a little operating magic eye, and you click on that, it'll bring down an audio control that you can adjust the volume on. Or, of course, if your Universal Media Net web device has a little side button for audio, you can tune it down that way and work it. But yes, it does get confusing. Net Control, the Net Control operators often, when you hear me confused, which is often, you know why. That means there's probably something going on in my headphones that is delayed or the wrong thing or whatever. So we try to keep it sane as much as possible. Did I mention you are Radio 4? Give us another transmission.
Yes, you did mention that I was radio number 4, and I've been hearing quite a few of them out there. Actually, I'm seeing some that I've never seen before, like the first one that came on there. So it's getting interesting. I'm liking this a little bit better. I can see what's going on besides hearing it, and I get to wave at you, but you don't see me. You're not waving back at me, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Dennis, thank you, and I will be back with another one here just to go.
Okay. Well, actually, we try and make it possible to wave a hand, but it, in theory, can be done digitally. I think you can leave a note at oldtuberadio.net on the page, or like Robert, who is listening in out of or near Las Vegas, Nevada, commenting on items of interest on the video. Says, tell the listeners and reminder to stay safe on 4th of July and not to drink and drive. So Robert out there in Nevada is watching the video and reminding everybody of that. So there you go. Thanks for bringing by radio number 4.
Okay, Dennis, well, I got to give you one compliment. I don't know how in the world you do that with all that equipment right there. I know I've been watching a lot of the different videos, but it's very confusing. I can see why it's only you that does this thing and not everybody else. Because you've been doing it for a number of years, so thank God for that. All right, Dennis, thank you. I'll be back with another in just a bit.
Okay, well, the part that counts, which is the radio check-ins and hearing all that, has been done by many. In fact, Ed did it last week. The extra little icing on the cake is just because we have the equipment here, and there may be a way to set that up for others. So anyway, you remember the days of multiple net controllers, and so we're trying to expand things out and let others listen in from wherever. And now that there's social media, it is interesting to note a lot of the Facebook sites. There are many groups that enjoy the older style radios and get on the air and do similar things to what we do here. And we're glad that we're able to share it by any means possible. As always, we remind people, if you're in Central Valley, 27085 on Saturday evenings, you can listen in, bring by a radio. In fact, we always say you don't even have to have a radio to key down. We'd like to hear from you anyway. And everywhere else, we get a lot of good comments on everyone's radios, for those listening in at oldtuberadio.net and watching the videos as well. So we are looking now for radio number 5.
45.
And there is Paul once again. Hello, radio.
Yeah, I'm going to check in my Sonar Model E.
All right, it's been a while since we've had a sonar check-in, and I know there's at least one Facebook group that's sort of dedicated to the sonars. So if anybody is out there watching from that, they will be pleased on the next radio that we are about to see, and that is the Model E as in Echo.
That's correct, in Echo.
All right, thanks to our the great photography of SWL 135, who did check in earlier today. We have a great picture of a Sonar Model E in action, as he often does on his pictures, to make sure that they're fully functional and doing what they do best. There's the power light. Looks like there's a sonar power meter. I don't know if you have that option or not. And give us a transmission, because the sonar's sounding great. Over.
No, I wish I did have that option. That's a pretty neat meter he's got on the thing. Yeah, Cliff's got some nice radios for sure. Anyway, this radio's in SAMS 2, and that earlier radio, and then like mine is in SAMS 4. So they did some changes on the thing, tube changes and other things on the thing. I don't know what was really done other than it's a stronger radio, I think. I wish Everett was still around. He used to have these sonars. Boy, he loved his sonars. So I enjoy listening to him on the thing. Anyway, there's no meter on this radio, as you can see. He's got that add-on meter on the thing, and it makes it real difficult to tune the VFO on the thing without all that. You kind of do it by ear, and that's it. You can go to crystal view, but my crystals are acting up, see me, so I'm staying with the VFO. So if I lose you for a minute or two, it might be the problem. Anyway, that's about it. It's got the gigantic sonar microphone on the thing at the handheld. Boy, it's a big plastic microphone. It's a well-ventilated gold case, real pretty radio. Like I said, then it doesn't have a meter. It's got a front fire speaker, and the rest of the dials on there are easy to determine by the picture to see what they are there. Okay, well, thanks again for checking it in, Dennis.
All right, and thanks for bringing it by. Sonar early on found out how to have good audio with the stock microphone, just so it's sort of the way General Radio Telephone did. And so just about any sonar radio you have with a regular sonar microphone will sound really good. And you actually have to be careful when you run some amplification through them that you don't overdrive them and get everything kind of mellowed out. It's a pretty radio. There's sort of categories of how radios look. There's the basic plain Jane older style radio, which this is not. Then there's the old tube radio look, and this radio has the old tube radio look. Something a little bit more like it might be in a workshop or on the workbench. Very utility looking, but it's functional. And then later down the line, in the late 60s and early 70s, as CB started catching on, it sort of morphed into make it look like stereo gear, because it might be in the living room, and the XYL has to have something that looks a little bit more like furniture, right? But this one sounding good and looking good. It's radio number 5. There are many sonar models. This is the Model E, one of the earlier models, and doing a good job. If it's still working, give us one last transmission. And you know what? I was going to check the crystal frequency there on the sonar, so come back again.
Yeah, okay. I got the mounting bracket for the mobile on it here too. It's a gold, real pretty mounting bracket. This thing would look super good in one of the old cars already. It'd be pretty. But the meter's the only thing that I dislike. This thing doesn't have a built-in meter. It's got a red modulation light on the thing, kind of light. It's glowing right now when I'm talking on it, because it's the antenna light, but it's acting like a modulation light. Okay, yeah, back to you. I hope it's coming pretty close. I didn't check the frequency on it when I put it in.
No, it's sounding great. You are probably about an S unit above. What was the other radio you were on? The Miratel and the Unknown radio. You're about an about an S unit above that, so 6 dB. So it's got a little more power, and it also has a little bit more forward movement when you talk. So the audio is nice and strong. And when I tuned the zero beat, you were at 270847. So you're less than 300 cycles off. And so that is pretty darn good for a radio that is probably approaching 50 years, if not more. The Sonar Model E, and doing a good job. I am looking to get the attention of our jingle singers over in the other studio. They are sauntering up to the ribbon microphones, because it is past time for them to tell us about what it is we do here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network, here until at least 10 o'clock tonight, looking for your Tube Radio check-ins, shout-outs from our digital listeners in the video. Hello to, I believe that's MM555, maybe NC from North Carolina, saying hello. On the video side, we do this every Saturday from 8 to 10 Pacific time. Hopefully there is something in your area where you have some time to get on the air locally, whether it's talking to the old tube radios or just chatting about whatever on your CB radio. We'd like to do it in style with the tube radios here on Saturday evening from the Old Tube Radio Network. We're looking for radio number 6.
Break, OTR.
All right, I think I've got 2. Is that 50 out there? All right, let's go with 50 because 1, I can get you checked in on the SWL side, which is I'm sure what you want to do, and I think I might be able to grab a radio check-in out of that as well. Over.
10-4 on a radio check-in. The old Goldberg. Mark 3. Side down.
All right, so we'll call that radio number 6, SWL50, also checking in. And let's see, what can I do? We'll get a shot of, I believe that is the receiver, sounding pretty darn good. Always putting in a good signal here in the flatlands of Fresno. Give us another transmission before you go. Always good to check you in.
Good deal. Just thought I'd get out here. Better late than never on the check-in.
All right, sounding good. Yeah, if you are hearing the voice, somewhere within the sound of the voice of the Old Tube Radio Network, you are never too late to get things checked in. Thanks for checking in, Mark, and bringing by radio number 6, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Thanks.
Number 7.
And number 7, hello, radio.
And 37.
All right, number 7 will be next, Radio 7, and 37, you will be Radio 8, so grab some lemonade and pop into the green room. We'll be right back to you. Hello, Mr. Ed.
Oh, there we go. Yes, another Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
All right, I am trying to write all that down in our archives. We do manually, because this is the Old Tube Radio Network, so we have to do stuff old style. Write it all down. I'm messing up my, I think I just messed up my white balance. Let's try this again. Everything turned green. There we go. Is that any better? I still look green. So give us a shot on, or a transmission on Radio 7, and I will see if I can get the really, really nifty picture that 135 has given us for the Mark III combination. Back to you.
There you go. That's definitely the two-piece, although mine is side-by-side instead of stacked on top of each other. And like that one, I have the Golden Eagle D104 attached.
All right, the Brownings, you can't beat them for just about everything. Audio out and audio playback on your side. The ability to have just about every control and function that you might want. Some easy-to-read S-meters in nice big boxes, so they're actually pretty easy to work on. And coveted by many because built like a tank, but they look better than a tank, that's for sure.
There you go. Semi-large radio, but yeah, the sound quality and besides, it's one of the very first CB radios I ever saw. Fell in love with one, and of course at that time I couldn't touch. Now I can play with one.
Yeah, I know how that is. Seems like a lot of the radios that I only heard someone else talking out on, now I happen to have a few of them myself. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB was one of those for many. One of the reason was, at least for this model, which came out around 1972, sort of an update to the Mark II, of course. It was why it was the Mark III. Starting, if you could find it, maybe about $650, but probably more in the $700 range. And they built these all the way up through 1976, and that's when 40 channels happened, and then they had to upgrade to the Mark IV. Sounding good in 2017. It's Radio 7. Give us another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by.
Oh, and thank you. Heck, back in the 70s, my first car didn't even cost me as much as the radio. There you go. I think it was $500 I paid for my first car. Radio or a car. I think back then I would have had the car.
Yeah, well, that's like my my station wagon. It's the $380, and it still kind of works, even though it's been neglected. All right, sounding good. We have the drink du jour is a little bit of iced tea tonight over the ice, which is melting, and it is still 90 degrees here in the tube radio room. So we're hoping nothing blows up like last week. We've got it all bypassed, so we're still running some of the tube here. It's working great. Thank you, Ed. Standing by in the green room, walking up to the podium here in the big microphonium is SWL 37. Hello, Chris.
Hey, hello, Dennis. It's me once again here. Well, this time here, Dennis, I would like to check in my Courier Royale 23-channel tuner, goes in dark with all the knobs and the blinking lights and everything and whatnot. And this in here, I'm also running this here with the amplified D104 Lollipop microphone. Over.
Sounding good. I'm not sure if those always required an amplified microphone or not. I think you told me, or you found there is an adjustment for mic gain, but it's in the back, and I'm not sure if they'll have that. Was it Phil? Somebody else was saying they don't have one of the controls that you have on the radio, so you might have a later version. If you're looking at the video, there is the radio, or a similarity to the radio on which Chris is transmitting. I don't think that's the actual one, but a very pretty radio, and top-of-the-line, full-featured from Courier at the time. It's called the Royale, and it sounds like this. Back to you.
Well, thank you. That's the one right there that you're looking at. It looks just like that one there, except I got a microphone plugged into mine.
And it seems to be working quite nicely.
Okay, yes. Well, thank you. But yeah, this here, it seems to work good, you know, with all those knobs and everything. And, you know, got switches here and there and whatnot, but I'm not complaining. I enjoy it every time I key it up.
And we enjoy it as well. That's why we're here every Saturday for the last 34 years, to make sure we can grab as many radios as possible. Our radio operators do a good job of sneaking away from the Saturday family activities, at least for a moment or two, to give us a key down. This one, the Courier Royale, 11 tubes. There is, if you go to oldtuberadio.com, a service manual available. It was one of the few that included the Collins 6 kilohertz mechanical filter, which was sort of a mainstay on a lot of the amateur radio transmitters and transceivers, or I should say receivers and transceivers. But Courier managed to sneak it in on the Royale, which gives it a very nice receive selectivity, sensitivity as well. Thanks, Chris, for radio number 8, and the Old Tube Radio Network is listening once again.
All right, Dennis, I'll be back as soon as I can flip a switch.
All right, this is your switch flipping frequency, otherwise known as the Old Tube Radio Network.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, please.
SWL 65 checking in.
SWL 65 checking in on the big board here. Let me find the right markings and put you all the way up. Eric is at the microphone. Thanks for remembering that this is the Saturday night place to be.
Thank you. A little late to the party, but glad to be here. Have a good evening.
Not a problem. I know there's a lot of people out doing stuff, barbecues, around the swimming pool, or whatever else happens, and like me, sometimes you go outside and it's a little bit... the sunlight lasts so long that you forget that it's way past 8 o'clock by the time you wander in. 65 is in. Thanks for listening.
7.
Okay, there was an heterodyne there. I think I heard 37.
Yes, you did.
All right, we'll take that. If there's another station, don't go away, and we will get right to you. Let me get my board back where I need it to be here, and go ahead with your radio, which I believe is going to be radio number 9, over.
Yes, it is going to be number 9, but this is a 23. The Chris 23, as a matter of fact. But this, and here's that. Chris 23 plus CB transceiver, 23 channel tuber, of course, as we all know. And this in here, I'm running this in here also with the stock original microphone, over.
All right, sounding good. Sounds just like you, very, very natural. And that would be Chris with a K. That's for the radio, Chris, right?
Absolutely. Mine starts with a C and ends with an ER.
Okay, I am putting KRIS23+. That's the picture that we're showing if you're at oldtuberadio.net or on the YouTube page. And as you take a look at the radio, this is what it would sound like if it had a microphone plugged in, which looks like our picture doesn't. But plug in the microphone, it sounds like this, over.
Yeah, well, you know, right there, I noticed the picture there, it looks like it's got a mic thing plugged into the mic plug there, but there's no cord attached to it. If you understand what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, well, there's a jack on the side. It looks like a 1/4-inch phone. Maybe that's headphones. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, I am wrong. You are correct. If you go to the center of the radio, is indeed what Chris is talking about. It looks like there is a microphone plug, but there's nothing there. So it's the broken microphone.
Yeah, that one's not working.
It would be very hard to check in that particular radio.
Yeah, I see your needle, your fingers pointing at it right there, but right there's where you got it right there. Now, you know what it could be? I wonder if they got that one there set up for about that they could use a microphone that's radio controlled to go to that?
Yeah, you can have remote stuff. We used to do, back in the day when we had multiple net controls, we used to have a wireless microphone. We could give to Bozo control. He could wander around and do, what do they call it? MOS, man on the street, OTR interviews. We often got ourselves into trouble. On your Radio 9, let me mention that is a plate modulated radio. It's one of the Panasonic chassis, I believe, one of the early Japanese imports that were all plate modulated and always sound really good. 11 tubes, and if you go to oldtuberadio.com, you will find an operator's manual for that. Over.
Yeah, now on this picture, they should have had it turned on so we could see the lighting of the S meter and the channel it's on and stuff,
Well, this is a generic picture, and I want to give a courtesy, but I don't have a courtesy on that picture, but it is not from our illustrious, our very Old Tube Radio's very own SW135, who makes sure that the radio is performing to its finest when the snapshot is taken. But we do appreciate all the photos that we get, nonetheless, kind of give us a visual aid to the audio going on. If you are wanting to do that, give us another transmission on Radio 9, and thanks for hanging out in the radio room tonight with us.
You betcha, Dennis. I'll be back with another. They got to warm up, though. I shall return. Thank you.
All right, warming up is a good thing. We don't want there to be the wrong type of smoke getting out of the radio. OTR is standing by. And let's see, Robert asking, has anyone come in from Nevada? We've had, when the E-Skip is running, we've had Oregon, we've had Washington, we've had Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Arizona. I've got bugs. Speaking of bugs, I've got bugs in here tonight. I don't know. Oh, I know why. Because I have I think I've got a bad screen on that window. And Scooter, it is just too hot. I think it's just too hot in the radio room for Scooter tonight. She has found, hopefully found something that's a bit cooler than the radio room and my Old Tube Radio lap. So she is out and about around tonight. So to answer your question, I would have to go back in the archives. I think Nevada, it may be, I would say it's too close, but if we can get Northern California or Southern Oregon, we should be able to get Nevada. Las Vegas from Fresno. We're in Fresno, and Las Vegas is just over the Sierra, so that might be a bit close. I don't know how many other stations are out that way, so we can only hope. You will be the first to know if you're set up radio-wise, and we're starting to get the E-Skip, which we have not had any tonight. The best thing to do, and we've had stations do that, the E-Skip starts happening and they tune into 27085 channel 11 and they start hearing us. So we'll keep you up to date if we get the E-Skip. In the meantime, Jingle Singers are saying they are ready. Are you guys ready? Okay, they are ready over in the other studio, so we will see what they've got for us.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Well, Dennis, we have talked to Las Vegas before and also San Diego, so that short stuff has been possible. So anyway, break OTR.
Okay, I hear you. Who was the other station? Okay, I think that's 20. Don't go 820. There's some audio issues we have to talk about. And hello, Chris. Sounds like you've got Radio 10. Is that was that on sideband that you're referring to on the Las Vegas?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so Las Vegas can make the trip here to the Central Valley, but I don't recall that we've had anyone on the Old Tube Radio Net Nevada style. But I don't have a lot of logging for the skip stations that are few and far between. Radio 10 is on the line with us now. We have made it into double digits on the radios, which is always a good thing. And by process of elimination, and because I know that radio well, I think if I go to the H on my list, I will find the radio on which you are transmitting. Over.
Well, I think you've got that about right. It does start with an H. But it is a Citizen little phone. The helicopters model CB3A, an 8-channel transceiver. We are on channel E at this moment here. And also running this here, Dennis, with the handheld stock carbon microphone. Over.
All right, sounding good. We have inserted the, I guess, annual calendar quality photo, courtesy of Mr. Green Arrow SWL 135, and there it is in all its glory. The Little Phone, one of the Little Phone series from Hallicrafters, 1962 or 1963 when this first came out, and it looks. I don't know if you've still got the video portion up, but now you can kind of see the radio, and that microphone matches what you've got. I'm going to say it's probably pretty similar. Over. If indeed it's still working.
The letter H on Hallicrafters, where the microphone holder's at. Mine is over on the side. I've got a magnetic one right there. That way I can see the whole front and everything. And no holes in the front either. You know, I don't have the meter on either side. But my mic stand for holder is just on the right-hand side right there, so it makes it a little bit easier.
All right, I may have missed a little bit of that transmission. But did you say that the microphones are similar from what you're seeing in the picture to what you have?
Yes. Now see on the microphone there in the center of it, it has some red on the letter red on H is red. Where I'm back away from mine right there, but mine is black with a silver outlining on it.
Okay. All right. That's. I wonder if the red came off because typically that is their logo. If you look at the red H above the Hallicrafters, where the microphone clip is on that radio, that's sort of similar. And I have an FM 1000 from the late 60s, and it has that logo. And I think my walkie-talkies from the late 60s had that logo. My receiver from the mid-40s does not have that logo. That's something they came out with later. So good deal. Sounds good. I like the sound of that radio. It sounds like a very stock old tube radio. The way it came out of the box with that carbon microphone.
Now, where you had the arrow at right there, down the bottom down there, where the letter H is, the logo right there, mine is the same color as that there. It's just on the microphone itself, it's a different color.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, that could have just be maybe rubbed off from thousands of syllables being spoken into the front of that microphone. Maybe it just got rid of the red paint or whatever's on there. But everything else is sounding quite nice. What can I tell you about it before you go? 1963 is the official production date, was what I've got. Base price about $160, and they do it all with 7 tubes, which is a whole bunch less than some of the other radios that are checked in, but it still sounds great. And if you go to oldtuberadio.com, you can find a schematic for that radio. Back to you, Radio 10, the Hallicrafters CB3A. Give us the transmission.
Okay. I was going to say one thing now. See, it's not rubbed off. It's very shiny and everything. The black is very shiny, like it's supposed to, I guess. And the chrome is all shiny around it too. It's just that the letter on there mine is a black H with the silver outlining on it, and with the black around it and everything like there, and then the other ring around it. So, but anyway, it's similar. It's just mine is black and not red.
All right, but it is there, and it's sounding good. Maybe it makes the microphone sound better when you have all those little pieces and parts. Thanks for bringing by Radio 10, and that might be it from the shack over there, huh?
No.
Oh, you know what? I know. Do I know? Yes, I think I know which one hasn't quite made thing. But like you said, make sure that there's warmed up for sure before you bring it by. In the meantime, let me make a comment over at oldtuberadio.com, oldtuberadio.net for those listening in. Hello to Auberry, Fresno, of course, the locals. We still have Kakalaki tuning in. 128 is still listening in. Hello to Pennsylvania, out near Schwenksville, and Frisco, Texas, of course. San Diego. Hello, San Diego tonight. We don't get many stations from the south part of the state. We had Los Angeles in earlier. I was out visiting in the LA area earlier today. Hello to Gilbert, Arizona. I don't have a lot of Arizona listening in. Las Vegas, that's Robert out there listening in. Florida, of course, and a host of others. Tell your friends to tune into the Old Tube Radio Network, or if they can't, better yet, tell them to get on the air in your neighborhood. with whatever radios I might get and stir things up on the frequency. We're stirring it up here at 27085 Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network, listening.
Greg OTR.
And SWL20, is the audio, is it soup yet?
Okay, it's still got that little bit of hum in it, right?
No, it's very clean. Over.
Okay, only 2 microphones seem to work on this radio. One's a +2, but it seems to not work now. And this amplified D104. Okay, real quick, this is a General Radio telephone, BB30, 2-channel radio.
Wow, 2 channels, and one of them happens to be channel 11. Now, that may not be the original issue. The audio sounds good. I wouldn't have guessed it was a D104 because it has a lot of mid-range. It doesn't kind of have the high tones to it. It could be the element. And I think you said it was amplified. You wouldn't want to amplify it anymore because I think you're at the limit to what the radio would like to hear. It's definitely not overmodulated. So we'll go back to you, but it's perfectly clean. Whatever's happening now has no buzzing, no oscillation. It is just you and the audio. Over.
Okay. Yeah, the other one's got, the +2's got a relay problem with this thing. Now, this BB30 is different than the schematic and the BB30 that Paul has. Paul uses the MC 11A and such audio on receive and transmit. 12AX7 into a ECLL 800, etc., into a 6AL11. And the 12AX7 and ECLL 800 do audio on transmit and receive. But my BB, it is relay switching. Relay switching on his, as is the 11A. My BB30 is electronic switching, needing all 4 wires, not 3, and it has a separate tube for receive only audio and transmit only audio. If I pull the transmit audio tube out, I receive just fine. If I swap and put it in and then pull the receive audio out, I can transmit, well, just fine, but I can't receive anything, no audio. And obviously, this being the only mic that works on it, it does have an audio circuit problem. So I have to figure that out. So although you say this works okay, I'll take your word for it. Back to you.
All right, and you know my word is always good. It's got plenty of audio. It's nice and loud. The quality, and I don't know if that comes from the microphone element or just the way the internal workings of the audio circuitry is, has a lot of sort of lower mid-range. So it's not real punchy, but it's loud. So if you can find a microphone that accentuates a little bit of the higher mid frequencies, it would probably brighten it up a bit. But if you play back the archives, I think you'll be pleased with the volume of the audio coming out, and the signal coming out the radio is quite good as well. And because it's a business band radio, maybe they could get by with a little bit more than the 4-watt DC input. My guru is telling me that you have the 2-channel. I guess there was a 1-channel version, which might have been an earlier version. So I'm assuming that all of them had, since it was a business band, all of them might have came originally with the business channel at 27,420 at that time in the early, mid-60s, 1965 when this came out. And looks like it can run base or mobile. I see the rack handles, at least from the picture of Paul, and that's the picture we're showing is Paul's radio, seem to stick out a little bit farther than you might get on like a Super MC9 or 11. I don't know if you've noticed that, but audio is good. That microphone is very clean. and pretty much if you couldn't change anything, I think you're good to go on that. Over.
Okay. Yeah, businessman. 20 watts to 40. Anyway, yeah, it was in 20, it was way up there in frequency. And what I had to do is take a transmit and receive, well, I had to play with the receive crystal to get it to receive properly. And the transmit crystals, I had to do some weird conversion to get it to transmit properly. So it's weird, but it works. I'm trying to see what tubes this has in it. But anyway, let's see, what does it got? No, wait, I'm wrong. This one does have 12AX7 and ECLL 800. What am I thinking? Oh, I see. Those two do transmit, and I have one way in the back here, 6AL11, I think, that does the receive. That's right. The 12AX7 mic amp and ECLL 800 transmit audio modulator and phase inverter on transmit, and a 6AL11 for receive only audio. Weird. And Paul does not have that. Anyway, and here's his relay switch. How about that? Okay, I've got one more to do, and then I'll talk about the radios for sale.
Okay, it's amazing how General changed things around even in the same model. And we had that, was it a letter from somebody that actually works with General Radio Telephone, said that, they'd have the techs on the kitchen table redoing things and checking things out. So maybe that's how they change. Yeah, the tube complement I'm showing 6BQ 7A, 6CW4, 6GH8A, 6U8, the 6BA6, the 12AX7A, which is pretty much standard for audio. The ECLL 800. I wonder if in 1965 that was their first use of the ECLL 800, perhaps, in the radios. And like you said, the 6AL11, 6CW4, 6HB5, the tube complement there on the 25-watt RF output business band BB30, either 2 channels or 1 channel, depending on if it's the earlier model, and the business channel 27420, which would be, that's above channel 40 now. That would have been like if there was a 41 or 42, it'd kind of be in between, but I don't think there's such a business band thing going on. You are Radio 11 with that, and I'll stand by while you get geared up to tell some other things. Let me say that you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. The Jingle Singers would like to do one more item here, and we'll do that as they tell us about the magic of what is going on tonight.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
OTR listening.
37. 75.
All right, we've got a radio check-in and maybe an SWL check-in. Let's go with the SWLS because that's the one that's right in front of me here. And I will say hello, radio to SWL 75. Over.
This is SWL 75 checking in.
All right, and doing a good job of it as I am putting the X in the square and also checking you in on the big board as well. SWL 75, known as the Scrambler. Patrick, I hope you are staying cool, and we appreciate you coming into the radio room to saying hello to the Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, thank you.
All right, got to check in there, and now let me bring the radio list up to the front, and we've got Radio 12, or I should say we have SWL 37, who is giving us Radio 12. Over.
Yeah, that is right. I should have been number 11, but Harvey beat me to it, darn it. But anyway, this is SWL 37. We're going to check in on my general radio telephone, the Super MC11A. This is a 24-channel model that there, and also this one here is running the handheld stock microphone. Over.
All right, probably some of our best audio for a stock microphonium tonight, bar none. Well, you've got to admit that Harvey was on a general radio telephone as he checked in on Radio 11, as are you as you check in on radio number 12. We were talking about the ECLL 800, his radio from 1965, the MC11A a little bit later than that, but also running the ECLL 800, which really gives a nice audio where you can run that stock microphone and sound as loud as you do. Back to you.
Well, yeah, this one, it seems to be working good. Got a good copy on you. Sounds good. This puts out good, receives good. I have no complaints with this one.
Nor do we here at the Old Tube Radio Network. We have no complaints for any radio that may check in that I can put down on the list. That is for sure. What you're listening to or looking at, depending on where you're at and how you're listening to us, is the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. It has 9 tubes, a couple of transistors thrown in for good measure. And you can find out more about it if you have a Sam's PhotoFax 22 on page 45. Otherwise, all you need to know is on the next transmission, because it sounds great. Back to you. Thanks for bringing it by.
You bet, Dennis. Thank you for being there. This was it for me, so now I'm just going to sit back and be quiet and listen.
All right, this is the be quiet and listen frequency, unless, of course, you have something to check in. Thanks for bringing that by. And Harvey is going to come back by here before we sign out tonight with some other information, and we'll be standing by. And looks like I have a check-in for SWL 28 on the digital side. Hello, Dennis, who, like many here during summer months when it is nice and warm and a lot of things going out, you realize it is dark outside and it is Saturday, and you haven't checked into the Old Tube Radio Network. So doing that now, SWL 28. And we will put it on the big board, official, if I can click the right button here. Thank you, Dennis, for checking in. You are definitely official here. All right, looks like my SWL page is broken. There it is. Oh, no, it is broken.
Hey, Dennis?
Hello, radio.
I can't tell if anybody's talking out there.
No, it's very quiet. There is the reason you can't tell is because it is extremely quiet. Oh, let me say hello to Brian, Mr. KUH, watching us at the YouTube video, who is working on doing a good thing to be doing on a Saturday, late Saturday night, where he's at working on his Tram 201s, which we have not had any trams check in tonight, so maybe that'll be our tram radio on his workbench. Harvey, it is quiet. You may talk. You may transmit, okay?
Okay. This is a general radio telephone Super MC11A. I've got an amplified hand mic on it. I drove a stock mic, so I can't put it on. But this is amplified hand mic. How's it doing?
Sounding pretty good. I'm going to say the signal is not up where the BB30 was, of course, but doing okay. You probably sound almost as loud or as good as Chris does on his stock mic. Over.
Okay. Let's see about this. Okay. This has not been tuned to my station, but it should be kind of doing a little more.
Okay, well, that cleared the audio up. The audio was just a bit on the muffled side, but that cleared the audio up. It looks like it's looking better on the meter, too. I see a little of forward movement over.
Okay, I lowered the mic a little bit. Anyway, General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. That's the high setting, and this is the low setting right there.
Okay, yeah, the high setting helps with the, what it does is it pushes the modulation. You are kind of riding in with the noise level, even though the audio is nice and loud on the S meter. When you change the other setting, then it pushes, as you modulate, it pushes the carrier a little bit out of the noise level, so it gives it that perceived loudness sound over.
Okay. The high-low power switch is on the noise filter tone in-out switch. In is high, out is low. Anyway, this one has the fat rack handle, the shorter fat rack handles, and they are silver chrome, real shiny. This radio is in real good shape, and it stopped working. So I went and I couldn't fix it, and then I went and found another one, and it worked for a while, and then it stopped. I couldn't fix it. Then I did a third, okay, and a fourth, and a fifth, and then finally I looked down and went, wait, this is stupid, and it was. It wasn't a real smart thing to do, because then I went back to this first one, and it works now. I fixed it. All 5 work. Anyway, I'm selling 2. They're on eBay right now. The location comes out as Fresno, and that's Bill's shop. He put them on eBay for me. So you can see pictures of them on eBay. They work, no problems with them. Light bulbs in the meter, I think one has only one, the other one either has both of them or neither of them, but that's just the meter. The meter works. All 3 of them, both of those work just fine. In fact, they probably sound like this one. I'm going to put the stock mic on the next Kia.
Okay, yeah, I'll be interested to hear what the stock mic sounds like. It's got plenty of audio. It's nice and loud, and like I said, when you have the other the boost on it, it helps my noise levels. So we're kind of far away with the antenna, so I'm sure anybody close by is hearing you quite nicely. We've got a shot of the Super MC11A up once again. Let's see, before I get back to you, I want to say hello to a couple of items. We've got SWL30, who has been, that is Rhett in Livermore, who has been away from our digital radio for a long time. So if you're still listening, Rhett, it's SWL30, SWL30, and I'm glad you remembered the Saturday night place to be here and OTR, and yeah, you're still on the list, believe it or not. And also the Timtron up in the Pacific Northwest, who is heading into, as we used to say on 11 meters, heading into the salt mine. I don't know if you did any field day stuff today, Tim. You probably did. I know you got a lot of good amateur radio things. So with CQFD, good luck in the contest. And we are not having any e-skip here tonight, but you just never know. So hopefully you can, it's been busy tonight, so you'll be able to tune in and see what we did. All right, back to you, Harvey, with the perhaps stock microphonium.
Okay. This is high power stock microphone, and this is low power stock hand microphone.
It actually sounds pretty good. I think you have a bit more gain, of course, with the other microphone. Might have a little bit more low frequency gain pushing the meter up, but I'm impressed with the stock microphonium. on both power settings. Over.
Okay, let me go to the higher one. Anyway, the radios are at Bill's shop, both of them. Anybody that's interested that has my phone number can call me, or they can call the shop. Bill could show them to the people if they're still there. They're on eBay also, and it's got a buy it now price on each one, which is the same for each one, or best offer. So I'll take offers. Anyway, I have 2 more of these that I'm not parting with besides this one so far. One of the other ones looks just like this one, only it's got a black painted case instead of gray, and it's got, now these are shiny chrome rack handles. There's still that fat one, and the other one has fat rack handles, but they're brushed gold. They really look good on the radio. And the radio works pretty much as well as this one. In fact, this one doesn't have any lights for the meter, but I like it anyway. The brushed gold has lights for the meter, and looks really, really sharp with the black case. Anyway, and then the third one is the traditional one people are used to seeing, which is the one with the long, thin rack handles. And those rack handles are shiny chrome. So I got really lucky with these. My MC12 has, let me think here, has the shiny silver chrome rack handle. Anyway, but I like this, and that's why I'm probably keeping the other 3. But there are 2 for sale, and anybody, they can come down to the shop while they're still there and check them out. And I will tune this one for the house antenna. They're all tuned for the shop, but they can be fine-tuned for the house. Anyway, that's it on radios for sale for right now. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, well, good information, and might be nice for someone to add to their collection, start their collection. As we have proven week after week, the Super MC11As are one of the better sounding radios without doing much of anything in the microphonium department, and are also a little nice and getting the maximum power out that you are allowed. Certain ways to do that, which you've also shown tonight. So good deal. So good information on that. And if you missed it, we archive, so you can go back to oldtuberadio.net, hit the archive button, and roll out to the end of the program here, and you'll be able to hear all that again, of course, on the video. On the video as well. Let's see. What do I want to do? We need to get out of here, too. We've got the jingle singers that need to do one more thing. So let me see if there's any other stations that would like to check in before we check out.
Break OTR.
The break OTR. Go ahead. Over.
53 checking in there, Dennis. How you doing?
I am doing great. We have a proxy check-in for you, Bob, but I'm going to make that an official 53 with the X in the square here, kicking in at the last moment. Sounding good.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that proxy, too. Take care.
Do some counting and amounting. And some jingle singers to boot.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Hey, Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
The 2 generals come with, it's a dynamic amplified mic, which is what I'm talking about. It takes a AA battery, so you don't have to worry about these either a 9-volt or a 7-volt.
Yeah, that funky 7-volt's a bad thing. All right, a dynamic, and it's a mobile style mic. Would that be a handheld style microphone? All right, carrier but no audio.
Okay, I tried another mic, and it's the VS series mic, supposed to go on some of the VS series radios, and apparently it doesn't work too well.
Yeah, it keys the radio, but it doesn't seem to have audio.
Yeah, it's got a carbon cartridge in it. Okay. Anyway, these radios will work with +3 depth mic because I use the custom special free sometimes on here. I just can't reach one right now. And +2 and D104. So you put just about anything on here except carbon and mic.
Okay, well, like I said, you could probably put any microphone. It's going to have audio, but it may not be the best sounding. But other than that, it's doing pretty good. What you brought in tonight.
Okay, I'll let you go. Counting and amounting.
All right, counting and amounting. Some good information on radios for sale. Also, Rob, as he mentioned earlier in the evening, SWL3 has given some links to some other radios for sale that I believe are. It's not an eBay. It's more of an auction. You bid your price on Facebook, so you're going to need Facebook to get to those. But check out Old Tube Radio at the Facebook page, and I think you can get there if you jump to the Facebook link at the top of oldtuberadio.net, and it is on one of either the notifications or what do they call it? The one of the main pages. So check those out. Those are from the Milam estate, and they're some nice, very, very nice, well taken care of Primo radio. So check those out as well. So good deal. If you want to start your collection, good way to do it. If you want to add another good way to do it. Jingle singers once again, and then we will, as I say, get out of here tonight.
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Do I have enough time?
You would be Radio 14, over.
One Browning Golden Beagle from Browning Laboratories with the Browning medallion on the back of the head of the D104. R68T68. One of my favorite little radios. Got it here in Fresno. Found it at a garage sale. 3 pieces. Well, 4. The transmitter, receiver, the microphone, and the 180. All in one spot. Okay, Dennis, turn it back to you. Catch you next week.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, whenever I think you have a really good sounding radio, and you have many of them, and they are good, you finish up with that one, and I realize, okay, there is a good sounding radio for sure. The Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. Some call it the Browning Mark I or the Mark None. Always good to have that, and it is Radio 14. Any other check-ins before we send it away tonight? All right, I think we're looking good. I want to make sure there's no other comments I need to address On either side, it looks like we're okay there. So I will say you guys over in the other studio can do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR total.
That would be the current and final totals. All right, I'm going to pull the headphones off my head here. I try to hide the cord behind my back, but I think I end up yanking on it. Maybe that's why I go through headphones about every 3 months. There's something about headphones that I guess we need better quality headphones here at Old Tube Radio Control. What can we do? Let's start with the SWLs checking in tonight. This is week 5 in our 8-week roster, the 24th of June, 2017. Who would have thunk? You know, back in the 80s that we would still be doing this here. But we have some great shortwave listeners and tube radio operators that just keep coming back and coming by and saying, let's get on the air and make some noise. So we do that. We had 8 check-ins on page 1, 18 on page 2, 14 on page 3, and 13 on page 4 for a total of 53. You know, it is still 90 degrees here in the radio room, but I don't see, and nothing's blown up. The tubes are still, actually tubes like it hot. It's transistors that do not like the warm weather. So when it's hot, bring on the tube radios. They will function quite nicely. Your transistor radios are going to need some help for sure. Radio-wise, on the list, 14 radio check-ins tonight. And who was the most heard manufacturer? Well, you know what happened? I think we had a tie because the General Radio telephones came on strong in the end. So it looks like we have 3 apiece for General Radio telephones and Brownings. But we did have quite a few radios tonight. Let's see what it was that we had. We had in its own category, and if this radio ever comes in as the #1 radio, I will leave the net control chair never to return. That would be the unknown radio. I don't know how many of them there are, but there's only one that I know of, and Paul's got it. He checked in on that. Started things off. Mr. Ed on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 for Radio 2, Radio 3. The Miratel CR117 in the, did you ever see one of these before department? I guess that's a little bit more common than the unknown radio. I know there's more than one of those around. Thanks, Paul. Radio number 4, Chris on the Gem Marine Products G PowerMate, the Sonar Model E. Hello from the Sonars. Paul, radio number 5 with that one. Radio 6, Monkey's Uncle on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, followed by radio number 7 from SWL7 on his Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Radio number 8 was Chris on the Courier Royale, followed by his Chris 23 Plus for Radio 9, and followed by his Halocrafters CB3A for Radio 10. Harvey brought in Radio 11 on the General Radio Telephone BB30. Also Radio 12, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A was Chris's MC11A. The General Radio Telephone Super MC11A for sale that Harvey was talking about. You can find the information on the replay on the archives, but there are a couple of those going on right now here locally that you can check out. That was Radio 13, the other MC11A, and then the Browning Golden Eagle R68T68 Radio 14 from Harvey as well. What else did I want to say? Thanks to those listening in. Who's still around? Who's still listening in over at oldtuberadio.net? Some of you in the wee early morning, Sunday morning by now, especially in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The Cross Band is still out there listening. 128 is still in Virginia. San Diego's hanging out with us tonight. Toll House, California. Florida is still in. Thank you for listening in Las Vegas. Robert out there, Auberry, California, Washington, Fresno, Unknown, SWLs, and all the rest. So what can I tell you? We will be back next week. 8 p.m. is our time on the Pacific Coast that we do this. You can always try tuning in at 27085. If you think you're in the skip zone, give it a shot. We are looking for some e-skip to happen here. It should be happening in the summer months. We get some ducting and things like that. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex keeping our Nixie tubes glowing. And thanks to all of you tuning in and listening in. We'll keep the archives ready for you and the YouTube video up for a little bit. 73, sounds like the crossband is picking up, and we'll catch you next time on the Old Tube Radio Network.
A great night as always, Dennis. Thank you very much. I enjoy having you out there. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
You got to know that those real radios glow in the dark. All right, I'm going to go find a cooler spot. It was so warm in here tonight, Scooter did not even venture in, so that tells me I need to be elsewhere, too. Catch you later. And catch you next time on the Old Tube Radio Network.